Reacher's weakest episode in Season 3 shows how good the series really is. Reacher's LA story is the weakest episode of Season 3, which just highlights how solid this series has been. Reacher Season 3 adapts Persuader, a novel that ranks high among fans of the books. The third season has earned a near-perfect score on Rotten Tomatoes and has been a huge streaming success for Amazon, so it appears Reacher will be around for many years to come. There are plenty of other great titles in the Lee Child Jack Reacher book series to pick from too, including 61 Hours and Tripwire. If a complaint could be leveled at the new season, it would be that it feels slightly padded. The ideal episode count for adapting Persuader would be 6 instead of 8, and Reacher's latest episode, LA story, only proves this. Episode 7 puts the pieces in place for the upcoming finale, where Agent Duffy Sonia Cassidy brings the ATF into her investigation, Quinn Brian T is getting ready to wrap up his latest deal, and Reacher Alan Ritchson gets ready to blow the latter's head off. It's a serviceable episode, but it can't help but feel like filler. Reacher's LA story is the least exciting of the third season. Previous episodes of Season 3 featured extended scenes of tension or action. LA story has none of that, and most of the episode sees characters going over their elaborate plans in motel rooms or offices. There's no big set piece or twists, with the only real source of tension being Duffy trying to prevent Reacher killing Quinn. The road trip element adds some spice, and it's nice that Neely, Maria Stent, and Jack are finally reunited on screen, but LA story is an exercise in pure wheel spinning. In an ideal world, the entire episode could have taken up the first 15 minutes of Reacher's finale instead. To reach the 8-episode mark, LA story stretched the source material further than it needed to. That's not to say it's a dull offering by any stretch, and it's nice to have an episode that lets the story breathe before the main event. It sees Beck Anthony Michael Hall reconcile with his son Richard Johnny Berchtold, and LA story finally confirms Duffy's informant Teresa is alive, if not exactly well. With Reacher's cover being blown in episode 6, it was only natural for the show to switch to a lower gear. If the source material is anything to go by, episode 8 will revolve around Reacher rampaging around the Beck mansion. This includes the eagerly awaited Reacher versus Polly fight, setting all the players in place for the final episode results in LA story feeling like an extended teaser trailer for the next episode though. It can't resolve any stories, and a big action scene would have felt forced, so instead there's a lot of talking. If nothing else, Reacher and Duffy finally acted on their mutual attraction, but that's the only storyline that gets any true payoff. By the end of Reacher's LA story, a big shootout is about to occur and Beck's lavish birthday party has just begun. With all the setup out of the way, episode 8 should be non-stop action from the opening moments. On that score, a story is quite effective in building anticipation, but it could have injected more excitement into proceedings too. Despite being Reacher Season 3's weakest episode, LA story is still pretty good. When a show like Reacher sets its bar high, season after season, punch after brutal punch, it becomes nearly impossible for it to stumble without audiences noticing. Season 3 of the Amazon Prime series, which has continued to blend sharp action, smart dialogue, and the magnetic presence of Alan Ritchson, hit a minor snag with what many fans and critics are calling its weakest episode yet. Episode 6, Hard Lessons. But here's the thing, Reacher's worst episode may actually be proof of just how good the series has become. A weak episode by Reacher standards. Let's be clear, Hard Lessons isn't a bad episode in the traditional sense. The pacing slows, a few side plots overstay their welcome, and Reacher, usually a man of 10 words and one decisive punch, spends a bit too much time meandering through exposition. It's not that the episode is poorly made, it's just noticeably quieter and less propulsive than the others. For a series known for bulldozing through its plot like Reacher through a locked door, this episode takes a breather. There's less action, more conversation. Fewer bone-snapping fight scenes and more ethical dilemmas. The villain, a shadowy black market arms dealer introduced earlier, remains just out of reach, and the tension never quite reaches its usual boiling point. For longtime fans used to the carefully timed rhythms of a Reacher story, Hard Lessons feels like a missed beat. And yet, this low point still outperforms the high points of many action dramas on television today. Character over carnage. One reason Hard Lessons may feel like a lull is because it shifts the spotlight inward. Instead of throwing Reacher into another set-piece showdown, the episode takes time to unpack the emotional aftermath of his choices. A conversation between Reacher and a teenage witness reveals the toll of violence, even when it's justified. It's a slow, quiet scene, but it gives Richardson room to show something rare: vulnerability. For a character built like a tank and trained like a weapon, Reacher's humanity is often expressed in subtle ways: a glance, a small gesture, a line of clipped dialogue. Hard Lessons leans into that side of him, asking whether justice always requires a body count, and whether a man who walks alone ever truly leaves his past behind. Even the supporting cast benefits. France's Neagley Maria Sten gets one of her most compelling scenes of the season, confronting an old contact from her military days. The moment hints at the kind of psychological complexity most action series avoid altogether. It's not flashy. It's not violent. But it works. Proof of a mature series. If Season 1 was about establishing Reacher's brute force style and Season 2 about expanding his world, then Season 3 is clearly about depth. And no episode illustrates that more than Hard Lessons. It dares to deviate from the formula, trusting its characters and themes to carry the weight. That's a bold move for a show that could easily coast on fight choreography and alpha male charisma alone. The episode slows down, but in doing so, it lets viewers breathe. It trusts us to care about who these people are, not just what they do. And when the action does resume in Episode 7, it hits even harder because of what was built quietly in the background. It's a reminder that great storytelling isn't just about peaks. It's about contrast. The valleys matter too. Reacher at its core. At its best, Reacher is more than just brawls and bravado. It's about the line between justice and vengeance, about loyalty among warriors, and about what happens when a man who walks alone finds himself caring too much. The show's weakest episode underscores all of this, not with a bang, but with a long, thoughtful pause. Even the title, Hard Lessons, feels self-aware. It's a nod to the truth that not all wins come cleanly, and not every mission ends with a satisfying punch. Sometimes, the hardest part of being Reacher isn't fighting, it's knowing when not to. Why this matters. So, is Hard Lessons the weakest episode of Season 3? Maybe. But it's also proof that the show has evolved. Lesser series collapse when the pace slows or the dialogue takes center stage. Reacher, by contrast, uses its off episode to reveal the bones beneath the biceps. If this is the worst Reacher can do, then it's still operating at a level most shows only dream of. And in a strange way, that might be the most Reacher thing of all: power in restraint, meaning in silence, strength in the moments you don't see coming. Because even when Jack Reacher doesn't hit hard, the series still does. Let me know if you'd like a version that mentions specific book tie-ins, episode numbers, or character arcs from Season 3. And in a strange way, that might be the most Reacher thing of all: power in restraint, meaning in silence, strength in the moments you don't see coming. Because even when Jack Reacher doesn't hit hard, the series still does. Let me know if you'd like a version that,